This is a wing of Afghan fighters. And here, wing of helicopters. Another helicopter wing. A third one. And these? Two elite North Korean air wings, fearlessly heading to meet the enemy. What will they do to the Afghan Air Force? You'll find out in just a few minutes. After defeating China, I got so full of myself that, of course, I immediately launched an invasion of Mongolia. However, my overconfidence was shaken a bit when my fighter squadron engaged in unexpected combat, and is now on its way back to refuel. Of course, I once again managed to miss the moment my fighters engaged in a battle I didn't plan. Luckily, I avoided any losses this time as well. Spotting 2 patrols, I sent in my anti-air division to send them down to earth. It's high time I thought about building a hospital. Construction has already started in the capital. According to the report, my fighter engaged an infantry battalion, which means my artillery has something to work on in the Mongolian city. I approached close enough to strike at his troops and simultaneously take down the planes circling above. Finally, the artillery upgrades are paying off. Anti-air activated. Take note of the activation timing, there will be plenty more of these moments in this long match. Just so you know, anti-air always fires every 10 minutes, right on schedule. My ruthless artillery wiped out next Golden Horde's warrior. After some time, the Mongolian fighter returned from refueling and I could start dealing damage. One precise hit and his flight ended. My recon battalion engaged the fighter in Choibalsan. And meanwhile, I began bombarding the elite attack aircraft stationed in the capital. Here's a super life hack to speed up capturing territories. As you can see, Beijing is under attack by insurgents. Since they don't attack twice a day, I can pull troops out of cities where morale is set to hit 34 by the next day. For cities where morale will still be low, it's key to return the troops before the day update. Mongolia is already halfway conquered, his capital is now under my control, and fortunately, the airbase survived. Now it's time to check the city of Durkhan. The artillery is moving toward the mountain border to get an attack bonus. And here we are. There are 2 infantry stationed in Durkhan. With the attack bonus, it'll be much faster and easier to deal with them. I'm sending infantry ahead of my artillery to capture provinces, and consequently speed up the artillery's path to the next target. The elite attack aircraft research is complete, and finally, I can mobilize them. Time to start ramping up my war machine. Speaking of research, I've already initiated radar development. I'll also need the National Guard soon. The 1st Infantry unit I'll mobilize in this match. But really, their absence hasn't stopped me from taking down one country after another. So here's my advice, don't waste resources on mobilizing infantries until it's necessary. 2 days have passed, and China quietly slipped back into Zhengzhou to liberate the city. The report shows that it was just a single infantry battalion. Meanwhile, I also managed to eliminate another of Mongolia's warriors. Also, Mongolia decided to wake up and launch a counterattack, though not exactly on a grand scale. I sent my recon battalion to a province near Lanzhou to stop a lone infantry wandering there in search of purpose. Then I ordered my troops to regroup and gather near the next target, the city of Ulgi. On screen, we have the 12th day report, the leaderboard and current economic standings. I've created a coalition made up entirely of myself, named Rocketman, for my own Rocketman things. My economy is still laughably small. Roughly the same as China's at the start of any match. By the way, I noticed Afghanistan shamelessly seizing provinces from my defeated enemies. It's not exactly polite, but honestly, without doing so, I'd be right on his doorstep. So he's making the right call. But that won't save him from me in my quest for world domination and restoring the zones of influence of the Mongol Empire under the new North Korean leadership. Moving on to technologies, I've completed research of the National Guard and radar. You can see that I've now initiated upgrades to level 2 radar and research of naval air superiority fighters. These naval fighters are masters at damage distribution, and naval ASF are far superior to their regular counterparts. You'll soon see them in action. I got lucky and picked up some electronics on the market at a low price. North Korea's future lies in advanced technology, and nothing will stand in the way. A little time passed, and I finally caught lone infantry near Lanzhou. I also began constructing a second airbase to mobilize fighters in 2 cities simultaneously. Soon after, I spotted another Mongolian EAA on patrol. Naturally, I sent my brave anti-air team to greet it. I also noticed that Afghanistan is building forward airfields. The speed with which he's trying to capture my rightful lands is starting to get annoying. But, as you saw in the intro to this video, Afghan Air Force is a dish best served cold. The division from the city of Ulgi has started moving, but naturally, not in my direction. But don't worry, I'll catch it. Or maybe not. But at least the city's left defenseless, so I'm taking it over. Meanwhile, my mobile anti-air units are already on the way, ready to triumphantly eliminate another Mongolian elite attack aircraft. The Mongolian division suddenly crawls out of the captured province, and from the last side I'd expect. Alright, I'll try to get off quick artillery shot before beginning the chase. I've already started setting up military logistics in the neighboring province. My anti-air units have arrived and are getting to work. Meanwhile, the artillery keeps up the pursuit. Luckily, the Mongolian liberators didn't actually capture the province. That definitely makes my job easier. And the aircraft? Well, it's finally taken down. Immediately, I sent my anti-air division to intercept his recon division. Now prepare to see the full power of mobile anti-air. Here's the plan. My anti-airs will hold off the enemy while the artillery, which is moving quickly through the military logistics, starts damaging those Mongolian stormtroopers. And no, I don't plan to lose a single unit. The battle begins. During the attack, my powerful defenders lost only 4.5 health. That's because stock infantry are almost useless against armored targets, especially with a combat outpost. The artillery finally fires and takes out the first infantry. Things are speeding up. Another one down. Then the next one. Now only 3 enemy units remain. 3 hours later, after the next attack, only 1 recon vehicle is left. This time, I decided to attack by myself and finished it off. Not many players use this trick. When you're defending, you can press the attack button to eliminate the enemy faster if needed. And then, to my surprise, 2 corvettes from Myanmar showed up near my capital. I responded by rallying my own corvettes nearby. Myanmar has chosen such an obvious approach to attack that it's almost disappointing. Nothing sneaky. Just sails right up to Pyongyang. The ground forces also began to approach. I decided to just wait for them here and not attack prematurely so as not to scare them away. It's easier to take everyone out in one place. In addition, I sent a radar to the edge of the Korean peninsula to detect any other naval signatures likely approaching from Myanmar. And now the 2nd Division is on its way. Time to declare war and start taking them out while they're still in the water. Unfortunately, my capital will take some damage because the enemy corvette will automatically attack the nearest available target. In any case, I'd rather have my buildings hit than my ships. After the first air raid, I managed to take out 1 infantry. The news shows Myanmar is busy suffering losses at home. Yet it seems that even threats to his homeland cities haven't stopped him from venturing over to Korea. Right now I'm striking the enemy corvettes, and the air raids continue. I decided to pull my corvette back to avoid a direct clash with the recon division. Otherwise, the Myanmar corvette would engage mine, and I'd rather not lose health. Sacrificing some buildings in Pyongyang seems like the better option. The forces from Myanmar have now sailed close enough for me to attack them with planes without leaving home. Meanwhile, my radar has detected another naval signature. The nearest corvettes will intercept it. According to the report, it's just an infantry battalion. I decided to enter close combat with this battalion to speed up its destruction. The report shows that the enemy forces are being wiped out at a good pace. The situation is under control. Meanwhile, I've set the radar to upgrade to level 3. This is a crucial level that allows detection of low ground signatures. I highly recommend upgrading the radar to level 3 by day 14. The second corvette and most of the troops are already destroyed. So now I can pay a little visit to Myanmar and collect reparations for the damage to my buildings in Pyongyang. The next day, I detected more Mongolian aircraft patrolling nearby. There's only one division with a single anti-air unit close enough to respond, since I sent the others to recover health. However, it should be enough, though the whole process will take quite a lot of time. Afghanistan has started constructing an airfield dangerously close to my border. I'll need to conquer Thailand and Vietnam as quickly as possible. My aircrafts are already circling above Bangkok. I decided first to check if there were any fighters on patrol. Since it's grounded, I can now declare war and start clearing out this inactive player. My trusty anti-air crew got to work. Meanwhile, my infantry, moving stealthily like a ninja, slipped around the patrol radius of the Mongolian plains, capturing provinces in the process. Soon enough, I sent Thai defenders stationed in Bangkok to feed the Korean sharks. My anti-air finally ate up the Mongolian plains. I continue wiping out the Thai forces, which fortunately, does not prove difficult. The only inconvenience right now is the scattered forces across various provinces, so I need radar ASAP. I've also started upgrading mobile anti-air to level 3, with my sights set on level 4. At that level, unit will have an increased anti-air range and can be airlifted. By day 17, I spotted an Afghan tourist near the Mongolian airfield. It's a level 4 motorized infantry, and it clearly has ill intentions, so we're getting out of there. Also, because of Afghanistan, my troops got stuck in the provinces he captured. With no immediate tasks for my aircrafts, I sent them to strike Myanmar's corvettes. On day 18, my radar detected multiple signatures belonging to Afghanistan. It looks like he's preparing to attack me. As for my position in the rankings, I've climbed to second place, and my resource production has improved significantly. This is mostly due to integrating air forces into my strategy and taking control of the Indochina Peninsula. I began upgrading mobile anti-air to level 4 and initiated research on mobile SAMs. I decided to send my aircrafts to heal before the confrontation with Afghanistan. There are just too many signatures approaching my territory. Afghanistan has also started building an airfield right under my nose. It seems I'm dealing with yet another player planning an attack in the most obvious way possible. In the capital, I have already begun the construction of a third-level hospital. Once the next elite aircraft is mobilized, I'll be ready to attack Afghanistan. I've already prepared for war with him and have repositioned my aircrafts to the nearest airfield. Taking this opportunity, I sent my recon vehicle to see what I'm dealing with. My radar also picked up an air signature. Since the green point is just outside the radar's effective range, this means the aircraft's patrol radius is just barely overlapping the area covered by my radar. Let's get a bit closer and see what exactly it is. Of course, it's better to avoid declaring war at this point, just in case it's something nasty. I'm keeping my flight path over the river, as rivers aren't part of Afghanistan's territory, so he won't see me. If this signature turns out to be a wing of fighters, I might have a chance to destroy it when it lands at an airfield. The main thing is to figure out which airfield it's heading to. I might even be able to catch it while refueling without triggering it, I just have to know the timing. I came to a stop for a moment, spotted that it's a fighter wing, and it's set to refuel in 3 hours and 30 minutes at the airfield near Myanmar. Let's quickly get out of here before Afghanistan notices me. I'd really like to avoid this encounter, or he'll turn me into a pancake. 3 hours passed. I decided to fly back for another look, just to double check the timing since I hadn't been watching the game the whole time. Luckily, nothing had changed. Now I see it's a level 2 fighter wing, a rather unpleasant opponent. I'll wait a bit longer. Now the moment has finally arrived. I'm flying in, using the waterways to avoid declaring war. I have to take the risk, or I won't make it in time to catch him refueling. To my great surprise, I discovered an attack wing. A gunship wing appeared next. Then a second gunship wing. Finally, the fighters have gone to refuel, so I can declare war without worry, and break into Afghanistan's territory like a fox in a henhouse. In the first attack, I managed to destroy 2 fighters, 6 helicopters, and 1 more infantry. Not bad at all. Let's regroup. I regrouped. This time, I assigned 2 fighters, each of a different type, 1 normal and 1 naval ASF for better damage distribution. I'll use them to trigger Afghanistan's fighters again and catch them grounded. There's no time to wait for them to head off for refueling on their own, especially with a target as tempting as those helicopters that I want to take out ASAP. At this point there's no need to worry about keeping things secret. Afghanistan would have noticed the flood of notifications if you were online. Flying directly ahead, I spotted the enemy fighters, and there are only 3 remaining. Now I need to fly into their patrol radius, wait for them to engage in combat, and then strike the airfield. Meanwhile, I'm maneuvering my strikers around the enemy patrol radius to avoid taking damage. The good news is, those helicopters are still in place. Contact established. Next ASF down. I'm heading straight for the airfield. I destroyed the fighters and a whole swarm of helicopters. And yet, the airfield is completely intact, not even damaged. This could be some kind of bug that prevents buildings from taking damage when multiple targets are hit. Only 4 out of the original 15 helicopters have survived. Now it's time to focus on the targets closer to me. It's clear that Afghanistan is online, as his units are advancing towards my borders. I sent fighters to check the airfield and started attacking the closest ground signature to me. According to the report, it's an artillery division. Looks like Afghanistan combined it with the infantry we spotted earlier. The airfield turned out to be empty. I attempted to scout along the route from the airfield to Afghanistan's capital, but again, there was no one there. Meanwhile, I'm continuing the assault on the artillery division. An infantry division has appeared near Afghanistan's homeland cities on the Western Front. But no worries, the North Korean minions can handle it if necessary. From the entire artillery division, only 1 infantry managed to cross the border, but he was sent to feed the Korean sharks as well. Near Chiang Mai, another division with 6 units has appeared. I quickly launched an air attack on it as well. On the Western Front, I pulled back from the center of a province that Afghanistan is about to capture to avoid direct engagement and have begun firing at him. As for technologies, I'm studying submarines and have also initiated research on special forces. I was already feeling victorious and confidently attacked Afghanistan's infantry when, suddenly, an air signature started moving toward my airfield. Since my radar could detect it, it's definitely fixed-wing aircraft. But what type? Air superiority? Or strike fighters? In any case, if I destroyed the airfield, it would prevent my planes from returning, but with my own planes refueling there, that's not an option. All that's left is to wait for my fate and hope the losses won't be heavy. It turned out to be a wing of level 2 strikers. I managed to pull back my biggest stack in time. At least something. During the attack, I lost 1 elite attack aircraft. My fighters, though heavily damaged, survived thanks to effective damage distribution. I immediately sent them to the hospital to recover health, while my strikers were dispatched to catch the enemy on his next refueling stop. Meanwhile, I also began repairing the airfield to shorten refueling time. On the Western Front, for reasons unknown, Afghanistan's division is heading toward Almaty. My first wing struck and took down one enemy striker. Now the second elite attack aircraft is on the way. I decided to dispatch a fighter to check if the enemy is still refueling, since I'm not exactly sure how long that will take. I attacked a second time and destroyed another striker. The enemy's threat is quickly diminishing. As for my own refueling time, it's currently 33 minutes. That's far too long. So, with a heavy heart, I spent about 1,000 gold to repair the airfield. Refueling time is down to 20 minutes. Surprisingly, the enemy didn't attack. So I returned for a second round, eliminated a third striker, and destroyed the airfield. The worst is over, but the gold was wasted. Finally, I could relax a bit and turn my attention to taking down his infantries. My third airstrike sealed North Korea's air dominance, finishing off Afghanistan's last two strikers. I'm continuing my steady attack on the infantry division. Only 4 units remain. Meanwhile, my western saboteurs have plenty of targets to choose from, one of which is stationed at the airfield. Since I have anti-air and artillery with me, it doesn't pose a threat. The remnants of the helicopter swarm arrived from the airfield and are now targeting my lone infantry. By the way, I should explain why he's alone. The recon battalion you see above also originally had 1 infantry. I had to focus on him to prevent my artillery from being cut off from our beloved Korean soil. Using a rush, I sent my infantry to capture a province from which I can bomb the airfield. Unfortunately for Afghanistan, he arrived right as my anti-air was activated, causing him to lose another helicopter. My infantry survived, though he has very little health left, especially with the ongoing rush, which only depletes his health further. Quick quiz. What happens to a unit when its health drops to 0.1 during a rush? A. It will soon self-destruct, losing all health. B. It will keep moving at rush speed. C. It will keep moving but slow down to its base speed. D. It will transform into an insurgent and start capturing your territory. You have 3 seconds to decide. Time starts now. So, the correct answer is option C. It will keep moving but at its base speed. In the meantime, I decided to transfer part of my air force to the Afghan front to prevent him from seizing my precious territories. Let's move on to Afghanistan's next attack. Just like last time, he arrived right when my anti-air activated. I'm starting to think he's doing this on purpose. My brave infantry managed to capture the province, but was immediately destroyed. How sad. Meanwhile, Afghanistan received a second blow from my anti-air, and his helicopters are left with very little health. I ordered my artillery to attack the airfield. A suspicious air signature, likely an infantry division from Almaty, took off and headed toward Myanmar. It seems Afghanistan has decided not to defend his territory. Alternatively, he might be planning to attack my homeland cities. I will attempt to strike the airfield in Myanmar with my planes. In the meantime, I have destroyed the helicopters and the airfield. I attacked the targets in Myanmar, but the result was quite disappointing, as I lost more than 7 health points. Meanwhile, my National Guard is holding off the Afghan infantry. He doesn't even need help, he can handle it by himself. Since I noticed that the Afghan signature has become naval, I redirected my corvette to intercept it. It appears he is indeed trying to pay me a visit. But the Korean sharks are just waiting for this. Soon I spotted an air signature approaching the former Afghan airfield at a very slow speed. It's clearly ground forces. I immediately sent my ASF to intercept them. It turned out to be a motorized infantry, and I almost destroyed it. Now I am attacking the forces near the city of Shymkent. Some time later, while patrolling the route through which the Afghan forces should pass, I managed to spot 3 infantries. I pressed the attack button to track their movements at sea. Then, I will try to stop them with my corvette. Now you can see that, thanks to this technique, my fighters are pursuing a naval target, and I know its exact coordinates. That's where I will send my corvette for the intercept. In a few hours, I easily sent the Afghan minions to visit SpongeBob at the bottom. 3 days have passed. I have already captured half of everything that could be captured, and mapped out the remaining routes. The war with Afghanistan can be considered over, and now you can see the results. In the news, I found out that Poland and Chad are at war. Moreover, Poland is attacking him with ballistic missiles. At least it's not me. Additionally, Poland has cruisers in his arsenal. At home, I am completing research on elite submarines and anti-missile defense, which I urgently need. I'm already constructing a level 4 army base and mobilizing special forces. Surprisingly, I have an excess of electronics and a shortage of supplies since everything is going into research. Soon I noticed Poland attacking Chad with ballistic missiles, which he seems to be launching from submarines. Luckily, the missiles are only at level 1. Looks like Rocketman is about to receive his own missiles, just not in the way he'd hoped. Another 3 days have passed. Now I have 3 submarines, anti-missile defense, special forces, and 11 aircrafts. But I also noticed that Russia, who is in a coalition with Poland, has started building airfields right under my nose. He's setting up airfields along the entire border with me as well. To make matters worse, Chad and Poland have re-established diplomatic relations. Other coalition members, like Germany and Ethiopia, have also restored peace. It seems the democratic nations are uniting against the tyrant. This is partly because I didn't pretend to be friendly, but I still don't think I acted incorrectly. As for my research, I've also begun mobilization of elite special forces, mainly due to a surplus of components and electronics, and because they can be mobilized in provinces, rather than in cities, of which I only have 4. Additionally, I researched and began constructing strikers. At this point I'm annexing the nearest supply city. At the moment, I'm researching ballistic missiles. I need them to start satellite research. If I can't win by numbers, I'll win with higher quality units and control over the battlefield. On day 26, I saw a Polish infantry unit flying to Vladivostok, right near my border. Things are heating up. It also appears that my enemies have formed an anti-Communist coalition consisting of Poland, Chad, Germany, Russia, and Ethiopia. Will the dictator be overthrown? You'll find out, in the next part. See you soon.